Yep, it seems to work. Today we're gonna talk about something pretty interesting, and it's survivorship bias. I've heard a lot of intelligent people on podcasts talk about this, use this to explain something else, but nobody has actually explained this in a simpler way for people like me with a low IQ to understand. So, I'm here with two markers. Actually, no, you know what? With three markers to explain this to you in as simple of a way as possible. Let's write our topic down first. Survivorship bias. Yup. It feels really good writing on the this blackboard table of mine that I've got. So we're gonna take the classic example of fighter planes, okay, battle planes. But we're gonna make it like way more simpler. Give me some time, I'm gonna draw some planes. Okay, so that's one plane. Stop criticizing me, okay? This looks kinda like a plane. Kinda. I don't know how to draw one. Okay. So we have got two planes over here. I worked really hard to draw them, so you will appreciate them. We've got two battleships, battle planes, and in the middle we have you. You are the army commander. Alright? You're the army commander, the general. And you have got two fighter jets that you want to send out to the war. Okay, the war is going to last for a bunch of days. This is just the first day, and you're going to send both of your planes out. Now, both of these planes are absolutely identical in every aspect. But then why have I drawn these planes in different colors? At the end of day one of the war, one of the planes returns. One of the planes return and the other one crashes in the battlefield. So we're gonna say that this one crashes and this one survives. Okay. Now you as the army general can't go to the battlefield right now and retrieve the whole plane. So you don't get any data from this thing. All you can understand, all you can get the data from is the surviving plane. We're getting closer. Hold on. Now you analyze the damages that the surviving plane has got, and you realize that it has got bullet wounds on the right wing of the plane. There are some other places as well, but mostly on the right wing. You still have to send the plane out on day 2. So what are you going to do? You're going to reinforce the plane. You're going to first fix all the damages, and then you are going to reinforce, make the plane stronger so that it does not crash like this one did. What's the most logical step to do here? You will repair all these damage, and then you're going to reinforce the right wing. Am I right? The right wing, you are going to reinforce that because that has taken most of the beating. That's the most logical step. Can we agree on that one here? So, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen on day 2? This plane is going to crash. But why will it crash? We have reinforced the damaged sections. We have reinforced the right wing. Well, after the war, the army general goes to the battlefield and retrieves the entire plane of this plane. The entirety of this plane has been retrieved, and he sees that most of the damages, like there's damage here, there's damage here, there's damage here, but most of the damages are on the left wing, right? Now remember, on day 1, this plane had damages on the right wing, and this plane had damages on the left wing. This plane crashed, this plane didn't. So after looking at the crashed plane, we understand that the left wing is the weak spot, right wing isn't. The right wing could take some beating, the plane still survived, but the left wing can't take any beating and the plane crashed. But remember the decision that we took on day 2. We looked at the surviving plane and realized we need to reinforce the right wing, which would have been a wrong decision. This is called survivorship bias. Bias means partiality to some extent. We are always partial to the survivors. We see the survivors in a given situation like this, and we infer data only from that because it's harder to access data from the crashed plane. When you look at the surviving plane, it's already in your hangar. It's already within your reach, you can analyze the damages that it has got, but it is incomplete information. As you can see here, the right wing could take beating, the plane still returned. And so the right wing just needed some readjusting, maybe some repairs. That's it. The area that needed reinforcement could only be understood after looking at the ruins of this plane. And after looking at this plane, we realize it's the left wing. I hope this is very clear to you now. We look at the surviving party to gather data, but that is incomplete data. Because the non surviving party oftentimes gives you much more significant data if you want to reinforce yourself for the future. This is survivorship bias. You are biased towards the surviving party. And you are not to be blamed here because this is all the information that you get. This plane is already crashed, this plane is gone. You can't go out in the battlefield and search for a crashed plane which has just like 5 or 6 parts left to analyze, anyways. Now, I hope you have understood what survivorship bias as a theory is. But we are not army generals and we are not sending planes out in war. How does this theory affect us in real life? How does this affect us practically? Because, and I think you will be on the same page as me with this, knowledge without application is basically useless, right? So, I'm going to give you one example which a lot of people, again, it is used like widely out there. So the first example would be dropping out. Now, dropping out of schools, dropping out of colleges, you only hear the stories about Steve Jobs. You don't hear the failures. You don't hear the non-survivors. Steve Jobs survived the situation. He survived the hardship. Mark Zuckerberg, dude, he dropped out of Harvard. He did not drop out of a local college. But anyways, he dropped out, right? But he's a success story. He survived through the challenge. All the information that you get about entrepreneurship and self-help, growth and anything else, basically, you get these things from interviews. You get these things from podcasts, right? From speeches. The only people who have got time, energy and the situation to give speeches, to make podcasts, are the people who are survivors, who are already successful. When you think of dropping out and you're like, oh, that seems like a dialed idea, usually you will only look at the easiest sources of information, which is all these speeches and stuff. And from there, you only hear about the survivors. But you don't hear about all those people who dropped out and failed in life. Maybe they have failed in the business. Maybe they are homeless on the street. Maybe they have got a lot of loans to recover and they're barely making it by. Maybe they could have done a job which they liked, but they chose not to. And now they're having to work as a janitor, which is a job that they hate. We as human beings, since it's harder to get data from the losers, from the casualties, we usually do not tend to go that way. This is the survivorship bias playing in action. We bias towards the winners. We bias towards the Steve Jobs, not the average Joe who dropped out of college and now is on the streets. And this works with any kind of advice. So I'm going to take a random self-help advice, make it meditation, for example. So meditation. A lot of people online talk about meditation being a dialed idea and you want to research more about it, but all the information that you're going to hear about online is going to be from all the people who did meditation, survived through the muck of it, and have managed to get the benefits which meditation gives them, right? But what about the people who are not genetically gifted, who are negatively genetically gifted, right? What about the people for whom meditation has never worked? They don't come out on podcasts, they don't come out on speeches and tell you that meditation doesn't work because it's not cool to say. Again, survivorship bias. We as human beings tend to look at only the people for whom meditation has worked and tend to ignore the people and tend to not look at the people for whom meditation hasn't worked. Because again, there's very few people making content about why meditation is trash. Look, I'm not saying meditation is trash. For me, meditation has worked as well. I'm just saying, whenever you're trying to do research, whenever you're trying to gather new information, usually it is going to be incomplete information because you're going to look at only the survivors and not the failures. And so the next time you try to research for something, try to look at the failure stories as well. Try to look at the non survivors as well.